What about this? How about a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Aileen O'Connor and a wonderful band doing it as only they can. Doing it as only they can. Anybody here from Ireland? Ah. Anybody from Ireland not here? Oh, jeez, everybody's here nowadays. The weather in Ireland is so bad that it actually sucks rope. The weather is so bad in Ireland, it's ridiculous. I came out today with Aer Lingus, and by gee, oh yes I did, I came out with Aer Lingus today. Oh, we had the tradeswind up our asses. We got here in 4 hours and 59 seconds. That's the truth of God. 2 hours getting the bags, and an hour and a half getting from JFK to Manhattan. Oh jeez, we had a magic carpet ride. I know you're going. He was Welsh. I know you're going very good. I can honestly say, and I've been coming to New York, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've been coming over to this lovely city here for absolutely 30 years, in and out, and it's always great to see the way you are getting younger. Some of you here tonight must have been reared on me. You must have been reared on me. When I go back over the years, and you know, it's I tell you how you know you're getting old. I'll tell you when you know you're getting old. First of all, when the audience gets younger. You know you're getting old when you bend down to tie your lace and you wonder to yourself, is there something else I should be doing while I'm doing this far? You know you're getting old when you wake up in the morning and your toes outnumber your teeth. That's true. They're all the signs of age. You know you're getting old when yourself and your teeth don't sleep together. You know you're getting old when you wake up in the morning and you have a 29-year-old bald-headed son who still isn't working. Oh, jeez, that's when you know you're getting old. I took my wife recently, honest to God, I took her away for a sexy weekend. Oh, yes. And I can say here, by the way, you're looking at somebody here, I have had 17 very happy years of marriage. How about that? We're married 29 years. Where did I go wrong for the other 12? I can't keep the wife happy, and there's a lot of young people here tonight who are probably contemplating marriage. Let me tell you this, go for it. Go for it. You can't go through your whole life being happy. You may as well get married at some stage. There's nothing wrong with marriage. There is nothing wrong with marriage. Trust me. The hours are a bit long. And when you get married first, your wife will always have little pet names for you fellas. That's right. She'll never call you if you're Paddy or Mick or John or whatever. No, she'll never call you by that name. For the first year, she'll say, how is my little Chihuahua? Chihuahua. Chihuahua. For the second year, how is my Bowsy Wowsy? And then the third year is, how is my little teddy bear? And believe me, the longer you're married, the bigger the animals get. I can guarantee that to you. I've been a hippo for 3 years. I went and left me drink outside, Frank. I left the second drink out on top of the bin. No, it's all right. There's one out there. It's Magnus. Magnus. They couldn't call it Bulmers over here. It really is. How do you know? Here's another thing too, by the way. They took it away. Oh, you got it back. Good man. Out of the bin. Lovely. What do you call them over here? Skip. We're gonna get a goddamn skip here. I used to live in one. When I go back over the years, and I mean this, and it's not today nor yesterday, when I go back to when I was a kid, and geez, you know, it's so different. We didn't realize, I think today, honestly, that kids have a much better advantage. I'm not talking about, you know, your age. You're slightly older than kids now, you know that, don't you? You're what, 20-somethings? I'm talking about babies. God only knows that they get a... See, young children in school in Ireland today get so much more than we did. We really did. Does anybody agree with that? They get so much more. We got feck all. I didn't get that either. There I am trying to be posh and she says, fuck off. But we got nothing. We were so poor, ducks used to throw bread to us. What's a matter? The first time I tasted meat was when I bit me tongue, and I'm not joking about it. We'd nothing. We had absolutely nothing. You look at the kids today, Jesus, they get everything they want. Children today, everything. Santa Claus comes to them. I can remember when Santa Claus never came to our house. Santa didn't come to our house. My father was a little bit of a tight arse. We used to call it mean in Ireland, but over here mean is angry. Jesus, how do you get used to all the words over here? How do you get used? It took me 20 years to get used to riot. Can I have a riot? And it's only now that I'm thinking about it. I've no car. So I should have known what she was talking about. But everything is so different now. Everything is so... I've watched it, and I have kids of my own, and I can see it myself with the way... Now, I'll give you an example. My youngest boy, he's 17 now. God love him, he's a big lad, 17 now. He'll be 18, please God, now in March if I let him. And recently there, he's looking... I'm going back a couple of years when he was looking in the larder. Now, this is a fella looking into the larder at home. He's looking in at cornflakes, Rice Krispies, Frosties, Fruit and Fibre, Special K, Honey Nut Noob, Sugar, Banana Bubbles, Shredded Wheat, Weetabix, Muesli, and Alpa. I said, he says, there's nothing there that you really like. We would have been happy just to see the box that the cornflakes came in. Just to see the empty, but we would have eaten the shagging box. But no, he wanted, no, don't really like that. And I tried to explain to him, but you're meant to be talking the bleeding wall. I said, there's millions of children in Africa today starving. He said, name one of them. How can you convince kids? And now recently, of course, girlfriends and all this, fellas start getting used to themselves and all that. And by Jesus, I tell you something, it's a nightmare. It is you don't know who they're going to bring home. Now, he brought home a beautiful girl now recently, very, very fashionable, sexy looking girl. She was the kind of a girl you could bring home to meet your mother, if you could trust your father, you know. And she had a dress up to her, and it was up to here it was. And I said to him afterwards, I said, that was a nice dress she was almost wearing. He said, yeah, she just threw it on. I said, she nearly missed. Fine looking girl. But then I said to him one day, and again, this is the response you get today from the kids. Now, I know today, I'm only too aware we're in a new century and parents like myself are a little bit old-fashioned. I looked at him, he had a face like a wet Christmas. Big droopy face. And I said, what's wrong with your son? So he says, I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to find myself. I need space, he says. Now I've learned that when a youngster says that to you nowadays, when they say, I need space, do you know what they're saying? Feck off and leave me alone. They want to be on their own. So I'm kind of saying to myself, he's trying to find himself. Now I could see him. This is the part I can't understand. I could see where he was. He couldn't find himself, but I could see him there. He was in his own room in the house. And could not find himself. Couldn't make the connection. And I said to him, well, today, give us a shout afterwards. I said, if you find yourself, let me know. So I won't have to report you missing. And that's it, I'm trying, and I tried to visualize. I came from, going back many, many years, my dad was he was a wonderful, wonderful man. He was a tough man, my father. Very tougher than parents are today. Much tougher. My father would hit first and ask questions later. That's true. My father wouldn't even put himself out to hit me. No. Over here, let hit you. Over here, let hit you. And you'd run across. It was like getting a punch off a bulldozer. But I could imagine saying to my father, I can imagine coming and him after a triple shift in the pub. In it. Walking home. My father used to come home from the pub with his head up in the air. In case he'd spill any on the way home. That's right. And I can imagine when I was my son's age, my father saying, "Hey, go into the fucking room." Okay. And I would say to him, "I'm trying to find myself. I need space." Do you know where I would have been found? In space. That's where I would have landed. My father would have launched. I would have been the first Irish astronaut. He'd have launched me on the spot. That's the way he was. Because I had a typical, I think anyway, I had a typical Irish education. I think I had. I think everybody had. You know, religious, it was a religious education system in Ireland. There was no way of avoiding it. You know, we had the nuns for a few years. You know, for the first few years you had the nuns, and then the Christian Brothers finished you off. That was basically it. Nuns first, Christian Brothers after. And by James, we had tough nuns. Our brothers were sissies compared to the nuns. And I'll tell you why, and you'll understand when I say this to you. The reason our nuns were different is because we were in a very poor part of Dublin, so they drafted in the nuns from the, you know, the upper class areas, you know. Used to be little sisters of the rich, we call them. And they would come in, and they would educate us, and I am talking about big nuns. These are the biggest nuns you've ever seen in your life. Sumo nuns. Big lumps of nuns. And they'd be standing together shoulder to shoulder. Honestly, one of the nuns, she was so big she had to get her ears pierced so we could see the blackboard. No, I'm not kidding about that. And they knew, the nuns knew they're in a tough area, so they got to play ball. They had to do it right. That's true. Our street was rough, by jeez. I'll tell you how the Rottweilers went around in groups. That's how tough our street was. If you saw a cat with a tail, you say, that's a tourist. That's a tourist. I'm not kidding. Everything was rough about our street. Even our convent was Our Lady of Ammunition. Now come on. Can you imagine that, the name of the convent? And the things that they said to us. The nuns. Just to give you an example, by the way. Just to give you an example of how tough. We had a bar in our street. Not unlike this bar, any other bar. Only a tough bar. And they had bar food. Pub grub, used to call it. And when you went into this pub, by reading the menu, you knew that you were in a rough place. The way the items were, fractured spare ribs. I remember going in, and you'd look, fractured spare ribs, broken leg of lamb. Now come on. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. The pub was so tough. Even the legs on the snooker table were bandaged. And everybody that went in was tough. We had a bouncer, by the way. We had a bouncer on the front door, big fella. And he searched, and I'm going back to the early 60s, he searched everybody going in. Everybody was searched going in. You know, they frisked you, you know. See if you had a knife or a gun or a hatchet or a broken bottle. And if you didn't, they'd give you one. That's the way that's how tough the pub was. And there was one bartender behind the counter, the barman, his name was Patch. And these two fellas, two little friends of mine went in one day. Now, you notice I'm not accepting responsibility for this. These are two fellas who were different to me. And they walked up to the counter. I'm talking about juveniles. Hey! Mito! Mito! Give it 2 points. And the barman looked at him and he says, get out of here. He says, you're too young to be here. Get out. Hey, Mito! You mustn't have heard me. Give it 2 points before the row starts. He says, I've told you once, I've told you twice, get out. And funny enough, amazingly enough, and this is true, the barman took a lemon from under the counter and he placed it on the top of the counter and he got his fist and he bursted it and spread pips all over the floor. He said, now he says, for your information now, he says, that could be your head. And the other fellow, Razor was his name, one of the young fellas, took an apple out of his pocket. And he got the apple like that, and he threw it up in the air, and he pulled out a switchblade, like that. And he peeled the apple. And cut it in 4 before it landed. And the barman says, hey, did you want Guinness or Smithwick's? Because you didn't take a chance. Nobody took a chance. Nobody ever took a chance. That was where we were from. Rough as a badger's arse is the way our place was. But it didn't do us any, did it do us any harm? No. So you had to be tough. You had to be tough. And Dublin is like that. Dublin is the same nowadays. I can actually tell you this without a shadow of a doubt. I can remember, by the way, very, very many years ago in the school and the Christian brothers who were very, very unique, if there's any other way of describing them. And they taught us. And I remember one of the brothers telling me one day, and I was only about 11 years of age, and he told me I was going to be an astronaut. And I went to home and told my mother and father, I said, you know, Christian brothers told me I'm going to be an astronaut. Although they tried to convince me that that's not what he meant. He didn't use the word astronaut, you know. He told me I was taking up space. And I put 2 and 2 together. I said, this guy's having me on. And I can remember, we were made tough as kids. We were actually made tough. Because when you got up in the morning, your father would still have a hangover, and if you looked crooked at him, he'd knock the head off you. And then your mother would slap you across the head going out for not eating your crust. And then you go to school and you'd be attacked on the way to school. Then you get into school and the Christian brothers would knock the shite out of you. And then you get out of school and you'd be attacked on the way home. And if your mother and father was out, it was a bonus. Because you actually wouldn't be attacked in the house. I remember my mother, Lord rest her soul, I can honestly, I haven't seen this one with mothers nowadays, but my mother, one day, sent me for a hot loaf of bread for my father's lunch. Now I want you to imagine this, it's the month of December, and whatever kind of logic my mother had, sending a fat child a half a mile on a cold morning for a hot loaf of bread that wasn't wrapped. All the odds were against the survival of the loaf. I had it eaten in slivers on the way home. I was just eating it, until I could see through it. I could see through the loaf. Now I can see me mother at the end of the street, like a freight train. And she came up to me, and I'll always remember this. I've always remembered it. It was an old umbrella we had, and she bet the shit out of me. She beat me with the umbrella because I ate the loaf. She beat me with it, she prodded me with it. She actually beat me 45 minutes to an hour. I've been beaten shitless. And I can honestly say here, by the way, that cigarettes, by the way, and I mean this, cigarettes saved my life. Cigarettes saved my life. Anybody who smokes will agree with this. do you know how it saved my life? Because the only reason my mother stopped beating me, because she went out of breath, and she stopped to light up a cigarette. And she lit this cigarette. I'm lying in a pulp, blood coming from everywhere. I mean, we're going. And she asked me the most ridiculous question. And do you know what she said? And this is true. She said, have you had enough? Now remember, she's beaten me for an hour. She's taken a break, and she thinks that there is a possibility that I hadn't had enough. That I'd lean up on the elbow that wasn't broke and say, no, ma, no. We could go another 10 minutes there. If you have the energy. There's still a bone in this ear that hasn't been fractured. And it's still to this day. And I often think about it. There was a thing. And a lot of you here tonight, whether you're Irish or whether you're from here in America or from another country, you will probably remember those days when that mother of yours, and God bless her, hopefully she's still living. If she's not, indeed she's a great memory to you. And you will remember, and you'll go back to those infant days. And we see it a lot nowadays, and we all watch the TV. And we see violence on that television. We see it every day of the week. The most dreadful violence all over the world. And people still, to this day, blame the television for the violence. And I want to make a statement here tonight that the violence had nothing to do with the telly. Nothing. It was our mothers who introduced us to violence. It's the truth. If you think back on the things your mother said to you, especially Irish mothers, do you ever remember your mother saying, I'll kill you? I'll kill you! Now think about this. It doesn't get any more violent than someone threatening to kill you. My television never threatened to kill me, and I can prove it. My mother did. Kill you! I brought you into this world. I'll take you out of it. That's violent. Of course it's violent. And it was only your mother. I'll break your neck. Now my television never threatened to break my neck. Ever. My television never followed me up 3 flights of stairs with the leg of an armchair and got me in the corner. I said, where's the apple tart I made last night? Did you ever notice that about your mother? She used to hit you in syllables. Where you last night? You little bastard. Bastard was 2 tongues. Imbecile was 3 tongues. And that was your mother. Never let it be said that your mother tried to console you. And she'd say to you from time to time, I only hit you because I love you. And it was true. And the more she loved you, if you think about it, the more she loved you, the more she hit you. It was the kind of love I could live without, I can tell you. And I can remember, nobody in the world could confuse you like an Irish mother. That woman who could put 2 sentences together and totally and absolutely confuse you. 2 sentences. Don't look now, but look who's behind you. Come over here and don't move. That was one of the better ones. Shut your mouth and ate your dinner. I tried that several times, it doesn't work. You shut your mouth, you can't eat your dinner. If you fall off that wall and break both of your legs, don't come running to me. There you go, you see what I remember? You remember? And look, it's been many, many years since I was a child, and I can tell you something, I'm beginning to see it now in the mothers of today. I am, the younger mums. Now my wife is a mother too, and God knows I don't really want to talk about it. I was going to start off tonight talking about my wife, and then I figured, well, you never did me any harm. You came along tonight in good faith. You don't want to hear about her mother, do you? Oh, Jesus. I can never, ever understand, why do people marry twice? Who wants two mothers-in-law? I can't understand it. I have one mother-in-law, and she's enough for 12 people. And she's huge, and God bless her, there's none of us perfect, but she's an arse like a meringue. If I'm serious, if she was here tonight, no matter where she'd sit down, she'd be next to you. I am talking about a mother-in-law from hell. Everything about her is written. She comes to visit us twice a year. She stays for 6 months each. Each visit is 6 months. And it's an amazing thing. They talk about, who's this guy on American television now who does all these crossings? What's his name? John Edwards, is it? She's a bit like him. She has a sixth sense. And there's enough room on her for 4 or 5 more senses. And when she appears in our neighbourhood, I know she's in the neighbourhood. I can hear the dogs howling. She knocks on the front door of the house, I know it's her. Once I hear that fatal knock, and I look around the house for the vital signs, the canary stops singing. The goldfish tries to drown himself. And the mice throw themselves into the traps all over the house. It's the only time you'll find 5 and 6 mice in one trap. Once Rasputin comes to the door, it's all over. And she started at the most recent visit, I have to tell you. I hate looking at her, by the way, and I bring her everywhere with me. We bring our mother-in-law everywhere. It's much better than kissing her goodbye. I wouldn't kiss her goodbye. Those 2 lips. Those 2 lips. They're both on top. As she smiles across the threshold, as she comes up to visit us in the house. And I say, darling, she's here. And when she walks in, and the amazing thing about it is, we had a break into our house recently in Dublin. Dublin's got a little bit changed nowadays, I'm afraid. It's rough now, it's a bit rough. There was a bank robbery in Dublin 3 weeks ago, and the robbers were mugged on their way to the getaway car. On their way to the getaway car. They were mugged. That's true. I was driving my car recently up the quays in Dublin, and I had no indicator on the car. And I'm coming up the quays, and I wanted to turn over Cable Street Bridge. I stuck out my arm to turn right, and when I took in my arm, my watch was missing. I couldn't believe it. I said, this is rough. It's got to the point now that before we close our windows in Dublin, before you push the windows up at night, you have to feel along the top of them for fingers. There's lads hanging on trying to get in. And we're terrified to go out of the house. I'll give you another example. Myself and the missus were burgled recently. Not recently, a couple of years ago. But it's still in our memories. And here's what happened, and I'm always saying this to people. When I do my shows around Ireland, I always say, make sure you have your security right on the house. We didn't believe in security. We did the old-fashioned Irish way, and we leave on the lights. We leave on the lights. The burglar will think we're in. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. You leave on the lights, the burglar doesn't have to bring a flashlight. So you make it easy for them. We used to leave on the radio and the television, you'd leave the toilets flushing. I think we're in having a show. You wouldn't know. We left everything on. Everything. And we went out, and we even took the precaution. Huge big sheet. And I painted on the sheet, and I hung it up over the front of the house. I'm inside! I said, that'll keep him out. We're down in the pub that night. It was my wife, and the reason I remember it, you remember this, Frank? It was the first time that my wife had a drink. Now, my wife never drank all through our married life, but this was her day of starting. So we left the house ready. I'm going out at 10 o'clock at night. I had the overcoat on. I says, put on your coat, love. She says, I'm coming with you. I says, no, I want to turn off the heat. What do you think I'm doing? And I took her down to the local pub. And we went into the local pub, and everybody, by the way, there's another thing too. Don't ever think that Ireland is behind the times. Ireland, by the way, is definitely the most up-to-date country on earth today. There's no question. We have more mobile phones in Ireland than there are in America. That's right. And we use them now, I have to say, we use them unnecessarily. Like you go to a place like Wexford or Ennis with the narrow streets, and you'd see two guys on opposite sides of the street. They can see, they can nearly touch each other. And one says, hello, how are you, Michael? Take your hand. Are you going into that shop or are you coming out? But he could have used it without the phone. Even in an intimate restaurant. You could be sitting in an intimate restaurant in Dublin with 7 tables. And you'll hear them, Mary, is that you? How are you? You know, come on. Lovely dress you're wearing, Mary. Did they not have it in your size? What did you have? Scampi. Oh, I love anything by Walt Disney. And to know something, we're using the phones unnecessarily. I was at a wedding in the west of Ireland about 3 or 4 months ago. I was travelling around. Everybody had the mobile phone. And then I went to a funeral one day in the Midlands, and I could not believe this now. The coffin was going down the hall, everybody was at the graveside, and I hear from the coffin, oh, break it up, break it up. My mobile, by the way, my cell phone has the vibrator. I only discovered it, I didn't know they had those. Oh, I let it ring and ring. Get a full body massage while you're waiting for the phone to be answered. So I'm down in the pub one night. I'm in the pub every night, but this was one night in particular. And it's the night we were burgled. And funny enough, at a good few pints, the wife didn't know what to drink. She said, what would you like to drink? She said, I'll have half what you're having. I said, would you be able for 12 pints of Guinness? And she ended up, you know. She said, I'll have a vodka and Red Bull. I said, which would you prefer? That's 2 drinks. Jeez, the Red Bull is dearer than the vodka. She drank it for the night. She ended up sober. I was locked. And she says, I feel very warm inside. I said, I'm not surprised you've the price of a half a ton of coal in you. Jesus, who wouldn't you be wearing that thing? And it was the night It was the same night we were burgled. I couldn't believe it. The phone rang in my pocket. And I answered and I said, hello? I said, hello, would you be interested in a burglar alarm system for your house? I said, excuse me, I said, I don't like these telemarketing calls. I said, especially when I'm out having me shagging night off. I'm out for the night, I said, would you please confine these calls to during the day and give me half a chance and have some respect? Oh, I let him have it. I said, why do you think I need a burglar alarm system at the house? Anyway, he said, because I'm calling from your house at the moment. We went outside the pub. We were home in 15 minutes. And I don't even want to describe it to you because nobody wants to know what it's like to be broken into. It leaves you with a terrible feeling. Walking up to the front of the house. And I couldn't believe it. Like I told you, I had this big banner over the front of the house. I left with this thing, I'm inside. He turned it around and wrote on it, I looked everywhere, fire! Have you enough to drink, brother? Would somebody give this man an aluminium bucket full of vodka and 7-Up? And we walked into the house and it's the bloody feeling you get, you know that? Now the burglar, I have to say, he could have been a lot worse. He could have took money, he could have took jewellery, he could have took the telly, he could have took the VCR. Do you know what he took? Do you want to know what he took? The remote control. Took the bleeding remote control. And every night for a month afterwards, I never forgive him. Every night for a month afterwards, he drove down our street. With the remote in the window when he was bastard, I could have got my hand on it. I honestly believe he was disturbed. As people say that a burglar is in your house, and a light comes on or something happens, he legs it. Obviously he went into our front room where there's a life-size photograph of her mother riding a horse in Kilkee in County Clare. The horse was inside out. And obviously when he saw the photograph over the mantelpiece, he panicked and left. We've had it over the mantelpiece for nearly 25 years. Doesn't do anything for the room, but keeps the kids away from the fire, you know. Just like a photograph of our mother. And we went up to bed that night, me and her. And I have to say, we were so nervous we didn't want to get into the bed. Terrible feeling. Shocking feeling. And we have a great love for it, you know, for the bed. I'm going to tell you this. You might look at an old fella like myself and you might say, he's past it. I'm going to tell you something, that I love it. And when me and the wife get into the bed, I'm going to tell you something else. My wife closes her eyes when we make love. That's the truth, she does. She hates to see me enjoying myself. And we went up the stairs that night. I'll never forget it if I live to be normal. We went up the stairs. And when we were up the stairs, we didn't want to go to bed. That was a bad sign for us. That was a real bad sign. When me and the wife didn't want to go to bed, it was a very, very bad sign. I'm just going to move that one out, the gooseneck out, fellas. And God knows, and if you can imagine this, we have a waterbed. See, I told you, in Ireland today, we're very, very advanced. We've had a waterbed for 20 years. We've drifted apart over the years, but she calls my side of the waterbed the Dead Sea. And her side is the Arctic. But anyway, that's the way it is. We talk like this about each other. So we get into bed eventually. Thank you very, very much indeed. We get into the bed eventually, and I don't want to be intimate about this, but I can never understand why people who snore always get to sleep first. Nothing will ever make me feel good about that. How do they always get to sleep first? And what happened was, thank you very much, what happened was, we had an entire drinking session before we went to the bed. So she woke me up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. She said, wake up! Wake up! Wake up, wake up. I said, what's wrong? She said, there's somebody banging on the door downstairs. But I said, hold on. I said, I don't hear anybody. She said, because you were snoring in your hair. So I listened. There was nobody banging. She said, go downstairs and investigate. I said, there are no noises coming into my ears. She said, it might be the burger coming back. Maybe he forgot something. And then she gave me what I call the uppercut. Just when you're down, and she jabs it in. She says, are you afraid? Are you afraid? She says, when you married me, you told me you were very brave. I said, so did my friend. My mother, my father, they all told me I was very brave when I married you. So I got out of the bed, and this I'll always remember, going down the stairs, well, going out of the room. I was only half dressed, by the way. I had half my pajamas on me. Ooh. The top half, the top. So I'm walking out of the room like this. She says, get back in here. You're not going down like that. Get the legs and the pajamas on you. In case some of the neighbours see you through the window. Think I married you for your money? Oh, the girls always get a good laugh out of that one. I got back in, I went down the stairs, there's a guy at the front door, 4 o'clock in the morning, he was scuttered. I am talking scuttered beyond belief. Shit-faced. Couldn't talk. Now let me tell you, by the way, Irishmen, and we're not afraid to admit this, we're different. God gave us a great capacity for drinking. And when we have enough of it, we want more. And when we get more, we want another tub. And when we have another tub, we want to be full. And then our communication system gone. The Irishman will drink on him, speaks, but nothing comes out. Am I not ashamed to say that? We're not ashamed. You see an Irish fellow with plenty of drink, he speaks and says nothing. Said nothing. You look at an Irishman with drink on him in a fish and chip shop after the pub closes. We always admire other people's shoes. Did you ever notice that? The night of my stag party, I went on the town in Dublin. I had 11 or 12 of my best friends, and we went to every pub we could find. When it came to 1 o'clock in the morning, All of my friends wanted to go to a disco. I wanted to go to a health club. 1 o'clock in the morning, I didn't know what to do. So eventually, I go to this place, full of steam. There's steam everywhere. I walk in, I strip off naked, and when the steam cleared, I was in a fish and chip shop in Cabra, in Dublin. That's as clear as I'm standing there. Standing bollock naked. Nothing on. Wearing nothing but a smile. Yeah. Nothing on. And I didn't want to feel as though I was embarrassed. So I kind of acted nonchalant in the chipper. I said, look at that! 17 stone of pure sexual dynamite. And one of the girls behind the counter said, yes, there's the pity about the 2-inch fuse. But wait till I tell you, hold on now, hold on. No, I've had adjustments, I've had a little bit of plastic surgery since. But it's an amazing thing, it always seems to me to be amazing. But this guy is standing at the front of the door, he's locked out of his mind, and I'm now trying to figure, what do you do to get advanced from this stage? There's a drunk at my door, I gotta get rid of him, it's 4 in the morning. I said, what do you want? He said, look at this. Look at He was drunk. I'm looking for a push. I said, you're looking for a push? And you knock on my door? At 4 in the bleeding morning? I says, would you ever call the AA, the Automobile Association? They will give you any pushing or any towing you require. Would you please flip off? He was gone like a shot. And then I went back up the stairs. Now remember, I came down the stairs from my wife. I'm going back up now to Sherlock Holmes. That's the difference. She's sitting up in the bed, only short of the pipe and the hat. Where was he? Who was it here? Why, when, which, how, what? Who, when, why, what, which, how, what, when, why, what? I said there was a drunk, I says, at the door. I said, what was he looking for? I said, he was looking for a push. I said, did you give him a push? I said, I told him to call the Automobile Association. They'll give him a push, or a tow, or a jump start, whatever he wants. But she says you have a very short memory. And you'll have no luck. Because you've turned the man away from the door. For unfortunate man now has gone off. Doesn't know where to go. And you have denied him a lousy push. So that was it for me. I had to go back down the stairs. Dressed now, I put on my robe and slippers and my balaclava. And I went down those stairs and I opened that front door. There was nobody there. I looked out into the darkness of the silhouettes. I went, hello! And I shouted, I said, are you still there? Yes! Jesus, I am! I said, are you still looking for a push? Yes, yes! I said, where are you? I'm over here on the swing. I've got my mittens around him, and I'll force it. But it's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. It's Sean Owens. You would outside Queens. It really is. I have to say to you that talking about my family situation is always a pleasure, because I feel I'm addressing people who I'm definitely the oldest person in the building. I'm old enough to remember Elvis when he was alive the first time. That's true. And it's an amazing thing. It never ceases to amaze me how people ask me about various things that I did over the years, especially this year, 2002, which sees my 34th year. I'm 34 years in this business of comedy. 34. Some of you weren't even a sin. You weren't even born, and I was up acting the goat. And you know, it's nice to see people like yourselves coming back and seeing my comedy and whatever it is that I do right. And let me just say to you tonight, those of you, as I said, are from Ireland, be proud as you like it. Because Ireland today is definitely, for instance, let me tell you this. And as I said to you today, I came out and I go back and forward with Aer Lingus all the time here in America. And you know, I see the tourists coming into Ireland. And those of you who are not Irish, you gotta come. You gotta come to or send the money. You gotta come over and see us. Or send your parents or someone that you like. We're a tourist industry in Ireland today. We're there to welcome. Welcome. To welcome everybody to Ireland. That's what we're there for. We want to make you home. We want to make you happy when you're in Ireland and get as much out into you as we can. And some things never change. My advice to you all tonight, and I mean this sincerely, when you come to Ireland, particularly if you're not one who's lived there already, we know the drill. But those of you who are not Irish or want to come to Ireland, for Christ's sake, do not, under any circumstances, ask for directions. That's one thing you'd never do in Ireland. It's cheaper to get lost. I'm only telling you. Do not ask for directions. Because Irish people are so friendly that if you ask us for directions, we get into the car and go with you. For the whole 2 weeks, you're stuck with us. After lunch day, you might get lost again tomorrow. I've seen it. I was on my way to Ballybunion one day, beautiful town down in County Kerry. Ballybunion, what a great, lovely town. And I'm on my way down there, fellas drive me in the car. I said to him, we'd stop here in this little village. We went to this pub for a cup of tea. And a sandwich. And a pint. And we came out, he was the driver, he was sober, I had a few now, and I lost my bearings. And I said to this guy outside, I says, am I on the right road for Ballybunion? You are, but you're going the wrong way. And I said, do you know the way? I do, he says. And he walked off, never told me. He knew the way, but did not share the information. I eventually see a fellow outside the pub with a half a bottle of Scotch whiskey, which was very, very bad for Ireland. They must have drank out the paddy. And I said to him, Ballybunion is in County Kerry. I said, it's not a quiz. I said, I'm trying to get there. You know what he said? This is true street. He said, where are you coming from? I said, it doesn't matter where I'm coming from. I'm going there. Because they say that in certain parts of North Kerry, they're inquisitive. If you ask them a question, they'll answer it with a question. You can say to a fellow in Tralee, which way is the post office? And he'll say, is it a stamp you're looking for? I said to a fellow from Tralee one day, I said, is it true that a Kerry man can't answer a question without asking a question? He said, who told you that? That's as true as I'm hearing this day. So eventually, the guy came over to me and he says, you're trying to get the Ballybunion? I says, I am. Well, he says, I won't see you stuck. So he walked over to the car that I had just gotten out of. And he leans over to the driver and he says, where are you going? And naturally, the driver said, Ballybunion. He said, would you ever give the big fat lad a lift? Which we were there for 2 days. It's a typical thing. It's a typical thing about, and Ireland is famous for these things. We are the only nation in the world today who will answer a question first and then ask it. You won't have a drink, will you? Have you ever heard that? You're not going out, are you? I came along between Roscommon, this is very recent, between Roscommon and Mayo. And there was a railway crossing. There's a railway crossing, and when I came along to it, of the railway line was across the road. It was right across the road, and the other gate was across the railway line. So there was one gate open and one gate closed. And the traffic was backed up. And I said to the fellow who was working, I said, why have you got one gate open? And he said, because we're half expecting the train. And it happens everywhere. You could never in your life sit beside an empty seat in Ireland. Never sit beside an empty chair, because you'll be scourged. Someone will come up. Say, is there anybody sitting on that? And it's all the way through. Very, very recently, ladies and gentlemen, I mean this. Food in Ireland today is the best in the world. It really is. There was a time, you know, many, many years ago, when everybody talked about the bacon and the cabbage. And we've progressed since then. To give you an example, Chinese food. Everywhere you go in Ireland today, they got the Chinese food. Everywhere. But the Chinese folks that they sent us, and you, Frank, you should know more than anybody else, after coming back from the World Cup, in Japan and Korea. And you know, the amazing thing, I thought it was funny. I actually thought it was funny. Looking at the match between Ireland and Spain, and our chant was Ole. Now it does leave a lot to be desired, come on. But anyway, the Chinese that we got in Ireland have 3 words. 3 words. Wah, you, wah. That's what they say. Wah, you, wah. Wah, you, wah. And when we go into a Chinese takeaway in Ireland today, or tonight, or most nights, you can't get in. Because all this Chinese food is so popular that we love it. And they form a queue on both sides to get in there. And when you walk in on a Saturday night, you cannot see the Chinese. Because the wall, the counters have been designed by Scandinavians, and you can't see them behind the counter. But you can hear, "Wah-wah!" Now, let me explain, by the way. Wah-you-wah means hello, welcome. What would you like? Have a seat while you're waiting. It's ready now. On a safe way home. Good night, God bless, and call again. And that's all covered in wah-wah. So, with a queue on both sides, you walk in and you can't see them, but you hear wah-wah. And you ignore them. And eventually they go, wah-wah. They jump. Now, you grab them. They come up, you grab them by the throat, or if they jump high enough, that's a different story. And when you have them by the throat, you increase their vocabulary. Why you want? And then you hear, pump me down. So now you have them from 3 words to 6 words. Or if it's a big fella like myself or my brother, then throw in 3 bonus words. Pump me down, big fat bastard. Now you're sucking teeth. You've got 9 words instead of 3. Why you want? Pump me down, big fat bastard. That's when you get a guy rushing in. Hey, give us chicken curry twice. I hear you first time.